I think if DN Supers do lose this, still get a game, still feels great. But if KT loses, it's going to be an upset, and it's going to feel pretty bad to go down your first series of the LCK Cup. So this is a point where really you want to lock in and play something you feel very comfortable on. We do now have our Fearless bans back, so you can see. Obviously, we had Fearless all of last year, and it is continuing into this year, so you can see in front of you what has been taken away.
Yeah. I do like that they group it as well into, like, you know, mid and different roles and stuff like that.
This is where I like it. It's a lot easier to keep track on, because especially once a role has been picked, you can kind of disregard that section mentally and just out of sight, out of mind. I'm not looking at it. I don't care.
Yeah, we can already disregard top right from the get-go, even though nothing has been picked. Another Jace ban going to be coming through here, so that's 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and Jason Malphite were very high prior in the Casper Cup, so a lot of priority put towards them. Vi and Nico, you know, LCK does very much love their engage picks, and those two still a ton of priority. And Nico, Vi, Orianna going to be banned by KT here. So similar bans, just shaken up a bit, and it's the Poppy that is the new ban instead of the Cassiopeia, which was banned last time by KT. Now, Ambessa comes through, probably for top lane, even though it can now be played in jungle. Have seen it more in the top lane, not been as convinced in the jungle, but could be a flex in theory. Aphelios picked up for aiming. One of those picks that we very much attribute to Dokdam, now being picked by his opponent. And Cuz with his signature J4. Yeah, J4 going to be coming through. Definitely a big one for the side of Cuz. And we'll have to wait and see if he is going up against Ambessa or something else. Nocturne looking to be locked in here. And it's a good pickup, especially into the Aphelios. You definitely need some backup, because if the Aphelios gets fed, can be a struggle when you go up in his face with the right gun orientation. He can just kind of solo you, but definitely as part of a dive composition can cause some issues for him. And the Ziggs comes through for Dokdam, we presume. Been seeing a lot of talk about mages in the bot lane, benefiting a good amount from the support quest, the extra gold income. A lot of mage items can be cheaper. You can hit that 6 items, I mean effectively 7 items, sooner than an AD carry and get the benefit from that quest. And also into Aphelios pretty good, because you don't have to close distance with him, you can outrange him. And when Nocturne goes in, you have the ult to follow up, that extra damage. Now, Thresh comes through for Ghost. Not a pick we see that often, but really wanting to provide that safety, that element of survivability for the Aphelios. And speaking of safety as well, it's another reason why I think the Ziggs are so good here into the Jarvan. We saw Chovy last year picking Ziggs when Jarvan was taken, because that satchel get you straight outside of the Cataclysm. Yeah. So it does make me wonder what Closer's going to take in the mid lane, because obviously if Ziggs isn't a great target for Jarvan, and you pick something in the mid lane that is, you're going to be under a ton of pressure. We've already seen like the Ahri taken away as something that can obviously get out of the Cataclysm easily, so we'll see what goes there. The Nautilus ban comes through. I know a lot of people like the Nautilus in the Thresh matchup. Some people favor it one way or the other. I personally don't like Nautilus when there's a Jarvan about, because the Cataclysm really disrupts your ability to play fights. Leona Ziggs can often be quite popular, but Thresh pretty good in Leona. You can fly away from the Xanth Blade. But we will see a Carly ban comes out away from BDD.
Yeah, just trying to cut off as much of his pool as they possibly can. And yeah, I mean, all those things you said about Ziggs and the new changes on 2026, they all make a lot of sense. But Ziggs was already really good, especially in like a game 2 or game 3 of a Fearless position last year. So
I think some changes have been good for him, some changes have been bad. I'll probably talk about them more in game, but it's kind of a mixed bag. How I feel we have lots of time. Leona ban does come out. Leona Ziggs was one of the most popular combos. That extra damage on his with the Leona passive really syncing well with him for the burst. So now seeing what the DN Supers will ban, going for the Mel ban as their final takeaway. And Mel, a pick, I feel like with a lot of power. Definitely did get toned down a bit because that root was super strong. Yeah. But taking that one away from BDD. And I imagine you're going to pick up... I mean, they could take top here in this situation because the Ambessa's already been shown. So they are going to look for the Rek'Sai, which was a pretty popular pick at Worlds. Saw a lot of play to middling success, honestly. Flandre was phenomenal on it, the top laner for AL. He was popping off.
but there were some other top laners who weren't having nearly as much success. So we'll see how Perfect can do. Obviously, he had a lot of time at Worlds to get acclimated with the pick. And on the other side, we're going to see Rel to provide some engage for that setup for the Ziggs. And the Aurora, which, I was talking about, you don't want to be a good target for the J4. Aurora, very hard for the J4 to be a threat for. So it makes a lot of sense. There is now no one really good on the side of the DN Supers to Cataclysm. Nocturne is probably the best, and he can just ult out, so...
Oh, BDD Zoe, it's happening here in the first series of 2026 for KT ROLSTER. And we got to see a bit of this towards the end of last year, and it does feel like the top of the rip for KT ROLSTER versus DN Supers.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Something I feel like we haven't really talked about, which we talked about a lot in the season opening, but we haven't really talked about yet today, is the Phalites.
The Phalites, yeah.
The Phalites, I was just thinking about that. And there's been a lot of discussion generally online about them and how they've changed the vision game, kind of simplified it in some ways. They're these spots that you really heavily want to contest. For those who aren't familiar, when you put a ward in these Phalites, you can see them on the minimap. These little, like, sort of, what color are they? Almost like a beige, like little dots. You can see the two of them in the river. Yellow, maybe. They make your ward radius bigger, and then it also, for 45 seconds, I think it is, it expands like vision over a wider area. So it's really good to have a ward there, but obviously the downside is it makes it very obvious where you're gonna have wards. Oh, Doctam is in trouble.
Yeah, they went for a very aggressive trade down on health,
yeah, and also,
with the Ziggs level 1.
Yeah, Ziggs level 1, not the play into Aphelios, because Aphelios just autos you with the Calibrum, and your Q is on like a 6-second cooldown, and when you hit it, you're like, nice, see you in 6 seconds. So he will TP back to lane, and Rel will run back with Home Guard, so not going to miss too much, but not an ideal start in this bot lane matchup.
Yeah, I didn't see the Flay come through after the engage from the Crashdown, so maybe they were saying, okay, Thresh is down as Flay, we can get a good trade here, but instead, what we saw was a level 1 Rel being bullied, and little to zero follow-up after the Crashdown.
I think so. You just get auto down is the problem. Like even if you get that initial bit of damage, you're not going to kill him, and you just get auto down. So risky play that will be punished a little bit, but again, I don't think he's going to miss a ton of XP. Is going to be down a bit in farm, and obviously that impacts the role quest. Someone was talking about earlier, so every laner gets points from their role quest. If you're in the right lane, it's 2, but for bot lane specifically, it's 3 points per CS. So it's more for bot lane than any other lane. That's kind of like the extra emphasis is put on farm in the bot lane. So it becomes really important that you're hitting your farm. Interesting enough, mid lane, it's damage you deal to your opponent in the mid lane is an extra factor.
Yeah. Lots of trading back and forth, and makes the trades fun once again. Or
so BDD doing that, it's just getting you more points towards your quest.
We're taking a look at a little fight over the Scuttle Crab. It looks like Pyosik is going to get it, as there's the Flay denying the Crashdown this time. They turn to engage on the Light, but the damage is not there. Aiming kind of zoned out for quite a while, but now he gets in, and the damage, they're in spades. They pick up 2 kills, and KT, a gigantic fight in the bottom river, going to get them pretty far ahead.
I think this is a huge mistake going for this sort of play from the side of the DN Supers, because you need to have the backing of your mid laner, and if the mid laner is coming in, a Zoe joining a fight late is so scary, because she's picking up summoners. Everyone has their summoners available early, so there's going to be options to pick those up. But in the end, what ended up happening is DN Supers just kind of crumbled before that was even a factor. We see how it plays out, so it's this heavy commit for the Scuttle Crab. Doctam is kind of zoning, aiming away in this situation. It's a good play from Ghost, and he's higher level, but BDD hasn't routed. BDD's moving in, and then he joins the fight, and Closer and Doctam are like, we need to get out. But like, you can't even commit summoners, because if you start flashing... If you start flashing to extend the fight, that's just giving more power to the Zoe. It's just giving more tools to the enemy mid laner. So a poor fight, I feel like, for the DN Supers to take, and KT responding well. And now, if I'm thinking about how this game is going to go, the fact that we have an early lead for Cousin BDD on 2 of their very comfortable champions is a great start.
Yeah, I mean, game 1 was definitely dominant for the Supers. Game 2 was extremely dominant for KT, kind of more of what we were expecting, and maybe we just get a game 3 that looks a lot like game 2, where it's, you know, the favorites, they come in, they get a lead, they don't lose it, and it ends up just being a one-sided affair.
Life is so, I mean, he just hit level 3, but he's a full level down on Ghost. And it's not like Dokdam's benefited, really. I mean, he's a bit ahead in XP when this wave is going to crash in, but yeah. The bot lane 2v2 is in a little bit of a rough spot.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, especially after a trade like this. The barrier is going to come through, and looks like Dokdam is fine, but still, beneficial trade for the side of KT. Had to use the summoner for it, but they're trying to put on as much pressure as possible. And Cuz, in the meanwhile, is looking to take the Chemtech Dragon. Might just be able to do that, especially with the help of his bottom lane. And try to get ahead and get one of these early objectives for the team. And Life, alongside of the Ziggs, not really able to do much at all about this from behind. So there's the Chemtech Dragon over to KT.
Yep, mid lane, pretty big advantage. Not just that kill and assist, but also a pretty solid farm lead for BDD over Closer. So not a great start there. Bot lane got that farm lead as well. Top is doing fine. Honestly, if you're keeping even with a Rek'Sai, Rek'Sai is one of these picks where you tend to just win lane with it and sustain through so many trades. So if you're doing well in the top lane matchup into a Rek'Sai, you're feeling good. But that is kind of the only shining light for DN Supers right now. That being said, they do have a Nocturne, so you're not too upset if not much is coming from the jungle till 6. Obviously, not dying early would have been good, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it was such a weird fight. It was like, you know, just happened to find themselves in a fight after Pyosik was like, I need this Scuttle Crab, you know?
Yeah, and Life
it felt very forced.
Life was down, Dokdam had no flash, mid lane had just taken a bad trade. There was a lot of conditions that were like, you really want to go for this?
Yeah.
But now both junglers hit level 6, so that Paranoia is available. And especially when you're already 0-1 in this game, that fierce Paranoia is going to be so make or break. Something we often talk about as well is the fact that the ultimate hunter stacks, if you get a kill or assist, you get those stacks, so your subsequent ults are more, well, I mean, the first one obviously used the ult to get it, so it's not going to impact that. But like, the more ultimate hunter stacks you get, the more your ult's available, which is great on Nocturne. So getting early momentum on Nocturne, getting successful ults off is a big factor. So I'm really interested to see how Pyosik uses his first ult and if it's successful. BDD is down flash, but it's coming up pretty soon. So if they want to look there, the timer is perhaps now or never. You can see him hovering around mid.
Yeah. They're going to go for it. Just to use his portal jump, and a bunch of damage goes in, but it's not going to get the lethal. As Cuz is here, now trying to turn it around, and the burst is insane. Closer gets taken out by Cuz. And Pyosik trying to trade here with the TP coming in from Life. That's not really going to help out all too much.
Yeah, that is kind of
lane.
Worst case scenario for the first ult is that you don't get the kill. And the thing is, because BDD didn't even have flash, his flash is going to come back up, and you can't even like repeat that play. It's not like you burn his flash and you're going to get a kill next time. He didn't have his flash, and you didn't even get the kill. So really unfortunate for the DN Supers. Great response by KT, and I also think the way BDD was playing was kind of what made it. It's like he expected it and was playing in such a good way. Going to come through, and it does unfortunately miss. But now Cuz has that Sundered Sky already, that one-item spike. We'll see the replay. So if you look, BDD's playing super far back, uses the ult from a distance. He's playing defensively, knows the threat, goes under tower, and they just can't follow up. Yeah. And the bubble connect in return.
The fact that he's Zoe helps a lot, right? Because he can do an insane amount of damage from very far away for very little risk.
Yeah.
In a scenario like that.
And BDD, because this mid-jungle has been together so long, and I feel like of all the mid-jungles, their synergy is just some of the best, right? You know, you think of like Faker Oner is another example of a really strong mid-jungle, but BDD Cuz definitely last year showing the power of this duo together and displaying that once again here.
Yeah, they're kind of insane, and they really haven't missed a beat. I don't feel like Game 1 was their issue at all. As Pyosik in a lot of trouble here. He's pretty close to his base, though, and it looks like he should be okay. But the fact that Cuz comes in with the one-item power spike of the Sun of the Sky and just bullies this early on is a bad sign, to say the least. Amy and Ghost also doing their fair share of bullying in the bottom lane.
Yeah, every lane going a little bit rough. I mean, apart from top. Top's fine. Doo-doo, still the year of Doo-doo.
Still the year of Doo-doo. Yep.
Still the year of
We have not given up on that yet.
We're still hyping it up.
All right, trying to make a play here, but the
Nice play.
play is very good into life. Gonna have to probably flash in the future if the play is available, and he wants to make sure that the engage connects. So, kind of sitting on over a 2,000 gold lead, and already KT, yes, the top Rek'Sai isn't winning, but I think they're okay to have the gold where they have it.
I mean, the top Rek'Sai is a top Rek'Sai, right? Yeah. And especially your role in team fights is going to be peeling, I feel like, more so than... I mean, maybe you try and get in the Ziggs and just be a menace, because the Ziggs is really going to struggle to cut through you. If you start to get a decent amount of health, you're going to be very hard for the Ziggs to shred, especially since most Ziggs are going like a very burst-focused build, and I imagine you would here. But even then, like, you can just play a more peel role as well. You know, when they dive in, you knock them up, disrupt. So if you're just keeping up and farm with the Ambessa, I don't think Perfect has to do a crazy amount this game.
Yep.
Really on the rest of the team, but the fact that Close Up Yoshik have struggled so far, a little bit concerning, because they need to be exploding these squishy carries. And I don't think the game's over at this point, definitely not, but it is starting to look a little bit rough, and the next fights, they really want to find some momentum. Do you see a ward placed down on that Fey Light? Does give vision of the river.
Yeah, seeing a lot of trading up on the top side on our spectating. As you can see, trying to highlight that indeed it is still the year of Doo-Doo. But besides that, trying to fight for this Mountain Drake.
Oh, do you see that super value? They got 3 wards and then just took a control ward with 1 sweeper.
Was that the super value for KT ROLSTER?
Yes.
Or the supers?
No, KT... Yeah.
Whose value was it? Okay, the Nocturne ult onto the Jarvan. Done a ton of damage, actually, and Ghost getting low himself. Pushing in life now on the retreat, and it looks like BDD is here and ready to party, as it is able to get the 1. So we're just going to trade supports there after the death of Cuz, and not half bad for the DN Supers.
Yeah, they managed to get 2 kills, trading around the play in a huge way, disengaging, and again, it's not easy to engage as this KT lineup. The Jarvan doesn't have that much sticking power with the Cataclysm onto the members of the DN Supers, so not working out, but oh no.
Yeah, he used that stolen flash already, and now a ton of damage is coming in. BDD knows it's not going to be lethal, but it's still closer not being able to play the game.
So they commit here onto the bot lane, but Docdam flashes out before the ult connects from the Aphelios and just throws everything in the kitchen sink back in reverse. They look to disengage here. Closer goes in, finishes off the support, and BDD is a huge threat with all those flashes lying on the floor. You don't want to continue that play with all the chakrams around aiming. You're happy with the 2 kills, you back away. It's a good pickup for the DN Supers, but they definitely know they can't take more.
Yep, feeling pretty good about that trade at least, but still going to fall behind here on the Dragons, as it looks like Cuz should be able to take this Mountain Drake, and that'll be 2 for them. We did highlight the gold, as still Doo-Doo is ahead about 300. But
we have
difference as
quests coming in for the side of KT. Okay, it's now 3-2. For a second ago, it was 3-1, but like all the laners have got the quest done for KT, and DN Super's a little bit behind in that regard, so not feeling too good.
Ghost getting pretty aggressive here to try to fight for vision on that deep Fey Light. Ends up taking a ton of damage from the Ziggs, who has completed his Ludens.
Yep, 4 quests to 2. And I mean, the thing is as well, like okay, bot quest is coming now for Docdam, so you get some extra gold. The mid quest is a big one though, because obviously those tier 3 boots is an instant power spike. And Rift Herald up in a minute, so we'll see if KT puts some priority towards that, because they're still in a very strong position. I also wonder if BDD, if we get like the Shadow Flame second, or why we see second from him, but like I just know that it feels like with the tier 3 boots, mid, Ludens, and then like things like Shadow Flame second, the damage is just like insane.
Yeah, the spikes are really crazy, and no doubt the Zoe from this position is going to love it. Wasn't able to take out the Wolf turret, the first turret in mid, and did do a decent amount of damage, got some of the plates. But now BDD is in the top lane as looking to punish this. We do have the Thresh nearby, so an easy Lantern does come through. The fear is there, and now BDD is really getting pummeled by the Ambessa on top of it, on top of the Ziggs bomb from very far away. Cuz in a lot of trouble himself, and it might be 3 for 0 here, although he is going to flag and drag. And barely gets himself out, but it's still a nice little play here from DNS.
Good play from DNS, showing what the composition wants to do. An overstep, little overstep from BDD, and then the attempt to save. You think, I have a Thresh nearby. That just pulls him into the mixer. The power of the Nocturne plus the Ambessa, the Ziggs on top for the alley-oop, and a big reward there. Not only getting those kills, but able to transition into a Herald. I see BDD trying to threaten the Ambessa on the tower and thinks, I have a Thresh nearby. I'm fine. But Pioshik, the fear comes in just before the Lantern does. The Ambessa ult connects after, and look how low we see Dudu get here. But do you know why he lives? Because it's a year of Dudu.
Yeah, you heard it here first in game 1.
You hit it second here, and then third as well here, and we kept saying it without stopping. It does look like they were kind of forced away from the Herald, though, so not able to commit to that objective. But still, the goal lead earlier in the game, it was like 2,200, 2,300.
Very early on.
Only 1,000. And, you know, with it being later as well, they've managed to close that gap well. Dudu in the top matchup now. I mean, it's like, okay, look at his items. Eclipse on Ambessa, that is the spike that you want. That item is insane on this champion.
Yeah. It's really, really good. It also has the Executioner's Calling just to cut down on some of the healing of that annoying top Rek'Sai. So it makes the trades stick even more. And so, yeah, I mean, it felt like in the beginning it was kind of just Dudu, but now he's been able to spread his influence, you know, based on that top fight we just saw, give some of the gold over to Pioshik, even over to Duckdom, who's ahead now himself, and doing an insane amount of damage. 2-0 and 1 on the Ziggs. Doesn't quite have the same farm as Aiming. Aiming, very well known for his farming and really committing to the bit, but still going to be a very strong and comparable Ziggs here.
Yeah, and approaching, going for the Shadow Flame second. Again, that 3-item spike, not quite the same as the mid 3 items when you have the Shadow Flame with the tier 3 boots, but still a huge spike for the Ziggs, a ton of damage.
Aiming, standing on a ward, is going to meet the Nocturne. The Lantern is just not in the right place. The communication very off. Aiming in a ton of trouble. Finally does go down. Pioshik healing.
He's still alive
with the Conqueror. He finally does go down. As now we have the Between Worlds closer is getting in there. And you see BDD only able to hit the 1. That's not quite enough. That's not enough tempo in this fight. He's going to hit Duckdom, who's very healthy. And now Ghost in a lot of trouble. Flash comes forward from closer. It's another kill. As we do see life does go down, but still, the DN Supers looking quite strong in this very deep play. BDD
you need to get out
forward
without BDD killing him. He has Flash.
He's going to try to go for it again. The Flash on forward, and Duckdom. A lot of respect shown there.
Yeah, I think that... I don't know. I think that would have killed.
I think that kills him.
Yeah, so good move from Duckdom to flash away from that one. Not wanting to go down to his old teammate, but here, on a ward, jumps in. And I think what's crazy is how long Pioshik survives. He flashes over, pre-flashes to follow. Really good move there. But then he just survives a little bit too long. The healing comes in from the passive. He's getting damage down. They have to commit more to kill him. And then the cleanup comes in. Closer playing this really well, using the Between Two Worlds to get over here. Does get trapped a bit by the Cataclysm, but is able to follow up. And Duckdom even blocks the Paddle Star from BDD to keep Closer healthy, so he doesn't take the extra damage from the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. So really well played now. BDD, look at nice exhaust.
Yeah, it's going to save him. And a bit more pressure as well as they're going to take down the mid-tier 1. And looking for a third dragon with Hextech Soul here on the map.
Yeah, so it's good plays from the DN Supers, but it's 3 dragons for KT is a little bit worrying, and it puts a lot of pressure on them. Because the thing is, all that has to happen is one good bubble, one good pick, one good team fight, and KT have Soul. That can make it really hard to deal with them, so... Yes, they've been getting some great fights and great engages, but they're not out of the woods yet.
By the way, we do have Horizon Focus.
Yeah, we should get
completed item here for BDD.
So it's now back to OG Horizon Focus, where a lot less AP, because it used to have like 125 or something crazy. It's now got the lower AP, but it has the 10% damage above 600 range again. So the damage amplifier is back. This will also, I mean, this is just a great spike for the Zoe, so a lot of burst at this point in the game. Duckdom should have a Shadow Flame now. I think he's going to back for that, so that's also a big spike. You see Aiming going for Bloodthirst a second. He is like, I'm getting poked out too much. is not a fun time. Please let me be healthy.
Might help him against the Nocturne guys as well.
That's the thing as well. If you have flash and you can't flash from the Nocturne, but you can flash from the Ziggs ult, and the Nocturne doesn't have like that much damage. Like he will eventually get you down with some extra help, but if you don't get hit by the Ziggs ult and you have enough lifesteal and the right weapons, you can just kind of like melee fight the Nocturne. Aphelios is one of those AD carries who can just do that.
Loves when everybody is in range.
Yeah.
As long as you're not dying. And
but it's very contextual, so we'll see.
BT is definitely going to help out quite a lot as we're starting Baron at 20 minutes.
There's no scrying orbs from DNS, so they not. I mean, it seems like an ambitious start. Something to note is they made Baron do a lot more damage, and also the resistance shred. So a lot of people might think they took that away. They did take it away from Baron on AoE, and they gave it to Atakan, and then they gave it back to Baron. So now AoE shreds again. So Baron does a lot of damage. So I think Cuz was like, hey, we could maybe No, it does a lot of damage.
Nope.
That's a second thought. It's tanky, does a lot of damage. It's scary, it's spooky. I don't like it. We're getting out.
Yeah, I think I have enough Otacon throws. I don't need now it to be replaced by Baron throws.
Yeah.
I feel like we've learned a lot over the years.
It's circular. You know, Atakan was a new Baron, and Baron is the old
Baron
Atakan.
is the new Baron.
Yeah, Baron is the new Baron. That's what that's where we are right now in League of Legends.
Because Otacon was the old Baron, and then so it replaced it, and then the new Baron.
Baron is Baron.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could establish that.
It all makes, it's all coming full circle.
Something else, you know, another little tidbit, they've changed it so the more dragons you've taken, the less damage you do to them. That was already a thing, but they really increased it. I think when you have 3 dragons, or maybe it's 4, it gets up to like 45% or something. It's a lot. That might be when you have 4. I can't fully remember the exact numbers, but you do a lot less damage to dragons, basically, is what I'm trying to say, compared to what it used to be. So KT's dragon take will be not as fast as it was last year at this point in the game. So DNS have a little bit more time to position, get over there, ult, BDD.
Yeah. It does feel like that was kind of the idea across the board, to make objectives more difficult to take and matter.
More committal.
A little bit more.
Yeah. Which helps when you have a Nocturne.
I feel like it helps. It doesn't really help us get that much action because our teams were already really safe outside of like T1 Baron takes and stuff like that in the past. Yeah. But now they're just like, yeah, we can never do this. Like, we're just not going to do it. So instead, we're just going to farm. And already we've had a couple of games that haven't had the most action.
We can't blame the changes for that, right? We can't blame the changes.
I'm just saying that we already have a tendency to do things a certain way here at the LCK, and we're only highlighting and enhancing that with some of the changes.
Well, that's because right now we're in a free flux state where we just have all our teams together. Later in the year, it's going to go back to Legend and Rise, and then we'll really see culture and gameplay and divide out.
Yeah.
So that's when we'll really get to see the differences.
So we got a little zoom in there. It looks like Coach Voice is going on right now for KT ROLSTER. I am curious what the idea is. I feel like this is actually a good time to use it where there's nothing really happening and you can kind of set up the late game for your team.
I know it's a really, I mean, maybe it's because Dragon's coming up, so they're talking about something for Dragon. And I know it's a really serious tool, important, but I'd love if they were just like, hey guys, do the Dragon. Obviously it's not, right? This is really serious, and I'm sure the coaching staff gave some
What do you want
insight.
for dinner? The KBBQ again? Are you sure? I mean, you can utilize it that way if you really want to.
There's nothing stopping you. You're allowed to do that. Oh, Sleepy Trouble Bubble? Oh, but the good satchel. Yeah. Okay, but KT have control of the area, which is good. And a Scrying Orb already used, other one's not there. They are still on the Dragon. Again, it's slower, but it's going to start get willed down.
Let's see if we can attribute this fight win to the Coach Voice, as we are going to have the hook land. The Paranoia is there, but they don't really use it, as just going to try to turn onto the Rek'Sai, but not really doing all that much damage. Aiming takes a bit as the Ambessa gets in. The Iradudu is real, gets access to that back line, and maybe that's exactly what they needed to win this fight. BDD very healthy, though. Does a bit of poke, but it's not quite enough to get their feet underneath them, and that's the Dragon taken away by DNS.
The Iradudu is real.
It's so real.
ult, honestly, so many tools were kind of free-fired out. Like the Paranoia didn't really do anything. The Ziggs ult was just kind of free-thrown. I was like, oh, DNS just not going to do anything in this fight. It kind of looked like, look, the Paranoia comes down. Nothing really comes from it. They're wasting time, it felt like, a little bit dealing with this Rek'Sai on the back line. I thought the fight was just gonna, nothing was gonna come from it. The ult comes out, and then look, as he ults, when he's in the animation, Dudu snipes him. So well played. Closes there for the follow-up, and that is enough to force him away, and then the backup comes through there. We'll see hit from his point of view as well.
I'll look for it, he says.
Calls it before it even lands.
Yep.
The year of Dudu, baby. Love to see it.
Dear Dudu.
And again, it's one dragon for DNS, but it denies the soul from KT. Gold is nearly even at this point as well. This has got to be feeling good for them now. A big pain point, 4 minutes before that next dragon, so bought some time for themselves.
And again, this trading pattern in the side lane is never going to favor Perfect.
Yeah.
He's just kind of taking a beating every time.
I think as well, when you're playing Zoe, you need time, you need space to land those. If you land the bubble, Sleepy Trouble bubble, great, fantastic. But you need time, you need space, you need to get a good angle. And the thing is, if you isolate yourself on a good angle, Nocturne can just engage on you. So you saw BDD was kind of grouped with the team to prevent that, but it meant he couldn't find great angles because it would just hit like frontliners, or you hit like when he hit Dokdam satchels backwards and the front line closes in to block. So I think it was really smart there from DNS. It did look a little bit rough at times in that fight. Like they weren't going to make anything happen. The Paranoia didn't get any value, but really well played overall. And now the game in an even state. This would be such a huge first series win for DNS, a team who spent most of 2025 not winning.
Just straight up losing. Almost every single day.
No other way to spin it. The most losingest team in the LCK by far.
It was very sad, and you know, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the broadcast, but especially after winning game one, we were like, hey, you know, it's great to see these guys turn it around. And
I think that's the thing, is that regardless of the outcome of this series, this is a great start already for them. But a win here would be massive, and it's still very much within reach at this point. The gold's super even. It's just that the only concern right now is the looming soul threat. They have a couple of minutes before that. It feels like the Baron, especially with them on red side and against a Zoe, it just feels like now the team too comfortable to start that without like a big fight win beforehand. And KT know that they're dealing with the Nocturne, so that they're not overstepping very much. We haven't seen like the aiming blunder we saw earlier when he was on that ward. Haven't seen any of those sort of situations since then.
Yeah, also just kind of the state of the game. There's no big objectives. You have to hold a line at very outwardsly. You know, it does feel like BD doesn't really have an angle until the fights really begin. As speaking of which, Perfect in a bit of trouble here, although Dokdam also going to be engaged on, trying to take the satchel away. He does have his flash, but he doesn't want to use it because he knows he's just dead. A trade of members here. Dokdam gets caught out.
Yeah, I think Dokdam was moving to try and be in ult range of the bot play and just ended up super overextended. The fact the satchel was like just not even close to getting in anywhere near safety, it means that bot play to kill Perfect ends up just trading unfavorably, because KT, they kill Dokdam, they get this mid tower as well. Big trade upwards, and the inner towers are all worth the same amount of gold now.
Yeah.
You know, last year the side lane inner towers were worth a lot more. Now they're all worth 600 gold. So you get that mid one, which is really nice for pushing up deep in the mid lane, and it's worth 600 gold. So you're happy to pick that one up. We'll see the replay here. Yeah, you can see both of them kind of moving down, like we want to support, we have global ultimates. And then they just kind of walk into this situation, which is not really a favorable one. It's a good counterplay from KT to kind of expect that and cut the inside line, knowing Perfect is dead, but like, hey, what can we get out of this?
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate position there for Dokdam in rotation, because nicely done by him to make the play happen.
Okay, Dragon in 20, some big defensive pickups. We have the Zhonya's for BDD. We also have the Shield Bow for aiming. So Shield Bow Bloodthirster, this is a very defensive build for aiming. And everyone has all summoners up. So you know, the dive threat is still there for the DN Supers, but execution needs to be crisp if you're going to connect onto these carries, because they have a lot of defensive items, tools available.
Anything about the last fight, that was really due to threading the needle perfectly onto the exact right target they needed, and then they just won. So you're going to try again here onto aiming in the mid lane. Gets feared up even after the flash, and down he will go. No more 80 carry as Closer gets in between the two worlds, as Ducktom also being bullied on the right side, but Ghost goes down. And so up a member here are DNS, Cuz going in and might be punished for it. Doesn't really have any backup on the backside of that one. Who's going to go into his GA as BDD desperately trying to get something done. Will take out the rail. Life will hit the dirt as Perfect is going to take the tunnel and get away. Another bubble is going to land. BDD is getting more and more time in these fights as now Dudu goes down to his GA. A very close one. Cuz still alive and lower health bars. Perfect is unkillable. And down will go Pyosik. Closer by himself. Looks like he's not very long for this world, although... okay, Perfect gonna take the tunnel, and it looks like he should be able to follow up and get the kill. And now KT, a very extended fight, and that will mean this Hextech Dragon and Soul for them.
What value BDD able to get in that fight? And I think DNS, after killing Eamon, we're convinced we've won this. We've achieved it. We've done our goal. The fight is ours. Everything is ours. But able to be punished there. Now, we're going to get a refight for this Dragon. Remember, no smites available right now. But I think too much control for KT in the area. Too hard to approach. Soul for KT. Mammoth play from their top side on the back of this.
Yeah, it's going to be gigantic. I mean, you think about Zoe with the Hextech Soul, even the Aphelios, definitely a lot of value there, but this is how this fight begins.
It's a big overstep from aiming, and it's great target selection, because the Zhonya's on the Zoe is a big blocker to the play working. The shielding, though, on the aiming just makes it slower. It doesn't stop you from killing him, really. And Ghost trying to save him goes down as well. But they end up kind of overcommitting here. You see they're trying to look for Cuz, they're trying to look for Perfect, it's split focus. They get Cuz down to his GA, and the call here is clearly, hey, if we kill the jungler, we get Baron. So everyone moves over, they leave life to get punished, and they're getting poked down more and more. They keep focusing damage on Perfect, but look how much healing he gets over the course of this fight. He just keeps healing up, and there's summoners on the ground for BDD to pick up.
It's good, he says. Just saying, okay. And yeah, a pretty extended fight. BDD doesn't say all too much outside of just, you know, calling to go ahead and continue the fight. As game time is looking slightly longer.
Yeah. A lot of action, it feels like in solo queue you're getting, you know, faster waves and getting back to lane faster. And obviously in solo queue you fight for anything, right? But our teams, they'll fight when there's an objective. And also things like a Baron gives less gold, right, than before. It's half as much gold, global gold for each member of the team. And so, you know, a Baron would often be like game ending, but it feels like a little bit less so now. Right now the gold's super even, but KT having that Hextech Soul is such a frustrating thing to deal with. Now, I do think of all compositions, DNS's comp is one of the ones that isn't hindered as much, because like you're diving in, like if Pyosik is right on top of aiming, slowing him isn't really going to change things, right? You're still going to get Ziggs ulted, you're still going to get exploded by the combo, the engage combo of damage. But those situations, those messy skirmishes we saw like that one before, the extra slow value is going to be really disruptive, and allow BDD just keep landing those sleepy trouble bubbles, which we've seen be massive value. So
yeah, I think the slowdowns will definitely help, but as you were mentioning, it really requires a certain kind of team fight to get full value out of it. Ducktom kind of just dying to top Rek'Sai in the last fight without doing much damage outside of his ult was a big issue, and now he can get caught out even easier. So gonna have to be very careful about his positioning. I do feel like our AD carry players have been bullied quite a lot in this game number 3.
We also have level 19 top laners, so with a top lane quest, they can go up to level 20, which is a lot of power, a lot of base stats. Both top laners feeling really strong. We've obviously talked about the year of Dudu and how good he's been in the series, but Perfect in that last fight, absolutely popping off. And in this dive-focused composition, they don't really have the ability to cut through this Rek'Sai. He is a real thorn on their side. I genuinely think Dudu is the one who does the most damage to him, but it's very hard for Dudu to cut through him and hold him still, right?
Yeah.
He needs, you know, when like films about like high schools, you have like the bully with the two goons who hold them, and then Dudu needs them so he can just punch them. But it's very hard to make it stick.
Yeah. Needs a couple of goons to help him out.
Yeah.
And we'll see if he can get that, because just clearing out some of the vision around this Baron. Haven't really seen too many opportunities to go for this one. And as I mentioned before, it does feel like our LCK teams are going to be even more careful about how they go for this objective.
And you know, you say that.
Kind of watching our top lane.
You say that. T1 20-minute Baron.
I don't know if they can do it quite as reliably now.
T1 20-minute Baron.
But they might still just do it.
They'll send.
As you're...
it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind.
It is, yeah.
We do get the Banshees come through from Dokdam. Is going for the healing reduction with the Oblivion Orb. Going to be a very late Rabadons, if ever, but obviously has space for that in his inventory. BD is closing in his Rabadons, so a big spike. But yeah, Aiming has 4 completed items, and I assume is going towards GA next. Would be a good pickup, I think. Level 20 for both top laners, though. They are... And that's the thing you got to think about it, right? Is everyone is farming quite well in this game, but the top laners have picked up a ton of farm. We typically see top laners not get as much.
Yeah, Dokdam lost his Banshees and then got hit with the Hextech Soul, so he got slowed down, had to go away. But now Cuz extremely low. In goes Pioshik, trying to punish him. In between two worlds does come down, but Cuz is just unkillable. There's no follow-up, and this time Aiming is safe enough, although in does go Dudu trying to take him out, but instead he's CC'd to death as the GA will come through. And now they have Aiming alive in a fight, which is crazy. Feels like the first time this entire game, and it means they're going to stomp it with flying colors. KT take a gigantic fight, and they're looking to push and maybe even end the game. We'll have to see how far they can go.
I think they can just end on this. It's only life to survive. They've got the overgrowth in the tower. They'll shred that super quick. Aiming able to survive and put the damage out in return. DNS didn't quite have it there, and they're not going to be able to take the series. I think KT just going to end it here.
BD trying to land the trouble bubble with the stolen flash as life as a rel does nothing to clear out the wave. Down will go the 2 Nexus turrets, and there's no respawn on those this time around. The Nexus does fall, and KT take the 2-1 victory here.